The Battleface podcast is broadcast live on Fridays and Sundays, and we encourage you to come hang out and chat with Bard and Dare live. Now, prepare to declare attacks. You are entering the Battle Phase.
Sneak peek last week.
Yeah.
So I sold that this week.
No
because
kidding.
It's no longer sneak peek.
We are live, by the way, just so you know.
Could have told me.
You normally listen.
But yeah, I sold it.
Yeah, nice. Like you made a good chunk of change off of that, quarter century rare?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, what are you going to use it for? To get, like, other cards, or?
Food.
Food is also
because
a good
I'm
one.
a responsible adult.
I feel like I am not a responsible adult, because, I got my first paycheck from my new job recently, and I spent a good chunk of it on manga, because I was like, I've been working hard. Let me get in there and Let me get in there and spend some of my money.
Savings.
Well, waste my savings, but also let me spend something to treat myself. I feel like I've been working really, really hard, and whenever you work hard, you should be able to treat yourself to something. Gamma is congratulating you on the quarter century secret rare that you pulled.
As he should.
Yeah, it's Promethean Princess. It's something that he himself is longing for, because he plays Infernoble, and Infernoble makes good use of that card. Infernoble and Rescue Ace, both of which are cards that benefit off Promethean Princess. Also, both of which benefit off of Bonfire. So I mean, good luck to him on that, right?
Well, I sold it and got some store credit and bought more packs.
Mm-hmm.
Got a triple tactics thrush from Maze of Millennia,
mm-hmm.
and then got a regular Promethea from Phantom Nightmare.
Yeah.
So another $80 worth of cards.
That's not bad. I've been actually considering getting myself some triple tactics thrust, since they're cheaper now because they were reprinted in Maze of Millennia.
They're still like 30 or 40.
That's not as terrible as 90 or whatever it was initially. You remember?
It's not as terrible, but it's still a lot.
It's still kind of a lot, yeah. And the other thing about it is too, I don't know, because right now my most competitive deck is still Labyrinth, and I'm on the fence about buying Transaction Rollback, because Transaction Rollback is a card that kind of increases its power output quite a bit. It's right now it's at $20 each, which isn't terrible, but you have to buy 3. You might not use the 3, but it's better to have them than to not,
Well, it's with every card that I buy. I always buy a playset of it just in case.
Yeah, just in case. And
I bought 3 Majesty Pegasus last night because I'm only going to use 1, maybe 2, but I need 3 just in case.
That was the new Magispector support that came out in Dune, right?
That's the old field spell.
Oh.
I have all of the Magispector, the new stuff.
Neat. Transaction Rollback would be a good choice for me, says Gamma. No Bonfire unless I go the Snake Eyes Infernoble route. I guess you don't necessarily need it. Infernobles are warriors, aren't they?
Yeah.
Okay, so you don't need Bonfire. I need Bonfire because I play Fire Kings, but that's a whole nother problem. And it's kind of what's keeping me from playing competitive Fire Kings, because I can't afford any of the Sinful Spoils package. I just kind of roll with what I got, and what I got is Dogmatica. So I play Dogmatica Fire Kings, which is still pretty good. It's not that it isn't. I'm experimenting with something that I found on YouTube. There was this guy who was using let's see, Nadir Servant to pitch, I think, like El Shaddal Apkalon, and then search Maximus Apkalon whenever it hits the graveyard gets you Shaddal Schism. And then you use Maximus to, banish Apkalon and then activate its effect to like rip cards from your opponent's extra deck, but also rip cards from your own extra deck, and you can like send Garura to draw a card and like I don't know, Sharag and like other things to like search for Ponix. It's pretty.
There's someone playing that last night at locals actually,
No kidding.
because they're they're playing like other Shaddoll cards too, because they had someone with a window lock, and I just kind of was taken back. I was like, why the hell is this happening in 2040 or 2024?
It's, there are some cards that just never seem to be power crypt in a certain manner of speaking. Like Winda is one of them that it's like every time you see Winda is a problem.
Well,
Siggy has
anything,
joined us.
any floodgate is just a problem.
Any floodgate is a problem.
According to Konami, any floodgate's a problem.
Yet they keep printing them. Like.
Yeah, and they keep banning them too. Do we want to talk about the last TCG ban list where they just got rid of like 3 floodgates and then limited 2 others?
Yeah, yeah, that was certainly something. And like in Master Duel, it's understandable because like Master Duel is best of one. In the TCG, it's frustrating, but at the same time, I'm not mad if I see a bunch of floodgates because I'll just side in all my lightning storms, feather dusters, and whatever the hell else I got. You know what I'm saying?
That's the smart thing. That's what people should do.
Yeah.
Like you run in like you run cards that take care of problems, but people like, I don't want to run back row hate.
Yeah.
I
So
don't want to draw something that will say destroy card in the back row. That'd be too easy. I'm gonna just complain until Konami bans all the back row cards.
agreed. I wanted to say hi to Siggy. It's been a long time since you've hung out with us, Siggy, and I wanted to congratulate you on the new model. It looks really, really cool.
The model does look really nice.
Doesn't it? It really does. But also wanted to ask, like, what else you been up to? Talk to us on this Hangout stream. We are desperately lonely.
One of us. I don't know about the other.
One of us is. I don't know about the other. But yeah, it is what it is. Out of curiosity, you've been watching anything, Dare?
I actually kinda, yeah. So I started watching the Band of Brothers
No,
a
yeah.
long time ago, and it started finishing that series Thursday, Friday. I don't remember, but I've got like an episode or 2 left. I'm kind of upset about it.
Yeah, there is, like whenever you finish off a series that like you really, really got into, it does something to you. You know what I'm saying? Because like it's like after it's over, you're like, well, what do I do with my time now?
Well, are you familiar with Band of Brothers?
I've heard about it.
It's okay,
Hmm.
but you've never watched it.
No, never.
It's like 10 or 11 episodes, I think,
Hmm.
and they're all like 2 hours long. But it follows the story of a World War II company
Oh,
and like all the things that they go through during the war. And it's just like you kind of get attached to some of the characters,
yeah, I bet.
and then the characters that you're like, oh, I really like this guy. It's like, oh, plot twist. He gets his leg blown off. And you never see him again.
Oh no.
It's like, okay,
Hold
I
on.
guess that's fair.
I actually might know the show. Come to think about it, who's in it? Do you remember off the top of your head?
The only one that I can think of off the top of my head is the guy from Friends is in it as one of like the commanding officers for the first couple episodes.
I just pulled up the IMDb for it.
There,
And
there's a
no.
there's a couple people in there that are like big ticket stars.
Yeah, I see that, and I was thinking of the wrong series. I think the one that I was thinking about was called Generation Kill. But that
Oh,
one
you
was
thought I was watching like an anime or something?
no, Generation Kill is an American television miniseries about war, like you mentioned. However, you were talking about one that was World War II. This one was like what is it? The first American-led assault on Baghdad. So it completely different wars. I'm not even in the right decade here.
I've been wanting to rewatch Black Hawk Down. That
Mm,
was like one of my favorite movies
mm.
as a kid. Which, as a kid, that should not be one of your favorite movies, but
Yeah. Siki asks if either of us played Yu-Gi-Oh! Forbidden Memories. The answer to that is yes. Yu-Gi-Oh! Forbidden Memories is the reason that I had so many bad habits while learning to play Yu-Gi-Oh! In the first place.
Duelist of the Rose was where my bad habits came from.
Yeah.
It's like, what do you mean infusing this plant and this zombie doesn't get me Pumpkin the King of Ghosts?
Yeah, same. I was basically like, oh, you mean to tell me that at the start of every turn I don't just draw until I have five? You can now in Rush Duel, but like back then it was like, no, what are you doing? Whoa, crap. That was loud. Like my Windows virus protector was like, hey, we scanned your PC and didn't find anything. I was like, thank you. Random. Like that scared me. It was like a Windows Defender jump scare. I was like, ah.
I'm gonna yell at you about this.
Yeah, but what was I gonna say is let's see, Forbidden Memories. Like recently, Konami has mentioned that they're re-releasing a bunch of like early Yu-Gi-Oh games on like digital platforms.
If they do Duelist of the Rose, I will purchase it and then stream it.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. I will watch you stream it because I've always
That
been curious about that one.
that was my like it's because it's not even Yu-Gi-Oh.
No,
Like
it really
Duelist
isn't.
of the Rose, Duelist of the Rose was like 3D chess,
It's
and it was stupid.
it's Fire Emblem with Yu-Gi-Oh monsters.
And like you have to have like your deck at a certain power level to
Mm.
fight some people, so you're constantly having to like take the good cards that you win from the slot machine out of your deck so you can fight like fucking Bones or whatever his name
Oh, so
was.
it's Warhammer with Yu-Gi-Oh monsters.
I, it's something. I don't know how else to describe it as. I loved it though.
What's it called? I think Forbidden Memories has gone down as being one of the hardest Yu-Gi-Oh games in existence. The reason why is because getting cards was so difficult, like so stupidly difficult, and they had such low drop rates for like the good cards, and
Yeah,
they had like the planet system in play. So like every time that you would play like a monster, it would have like some kind of planet affiliation, and like if you're facing against an opposite planet, it had like a Pokemon weakness resistance type thing where like you would gain 1,000 life points for fighting against some a planet that you have advantage over, and you would lose like 1,000 attack points if you're playing fighting a planet that you were weak against. So there was just
that I don't remember.
oh
But
dude, it was awful. I beat the game, but man, it took me some time. Like it took me a while, and it's one that to this day I remember. I still remember like the duel song, the music that played while you were on the free duel. One of my favorite tracks of all time. It's just like good music. It was great.
it's the fucking Duelist of the Rose theme lives rent free in my head. It's
Yeah.
one of those video game songs that's like just randomly you hear it. And it's you don't have a problem with it because it's like it's not a bad song. It's a good song.
So, speaking of that, I'd like to ask you that question. What video game songs just live rent free in your head? Name me your top three.
Top three.
Yeah, and let's
Uh,
open this up to the chat too. Hey guys, what video game tracks live rent free in your head? Hit me with them. I want to hear.
well, obviously that one. So the Duelist of the Rose like
Mm.
main theme song, and then probably another one would be Megalovania.
That's the one from
Just
Undertale, right?
that's the one. Yeah, that's the one from under. You don't even have to. Everyone knows Megalovania.
Yeah, everyone knows Megalovania.
And then third one.
Third one. You need one more. And also, are they in any particular order?
Oh no, they're not in any particular order.
Blark Moo in the
I don't
chat
know.
says Kingdom Hearts. Kingdom Hearts had some bangers, man. Like Forza de Mal was one of my favorites. It was like whenever you're facing, I think it's the song that plays when you're fighting evil Riku in Hollow Bastion.
Sephiroth.
Oh, the Sephiroth theme song.
No, I've never actually played that. It was just
Neither have I. Like I
I
know
said that and then I stopped because I was like, that's not Kingdom Hearts.
it's in Kingdom Hearts, but yeah, no, it's not. It didn't originate in Kingdom Hearts. I know Final Fantasy VII tangentially because I'm a huge simp for Tifa.
I don't know about a third song. I know those Megalovania and the Duels of the Rose theme are like two of the big songs, but I can't think of another one for some reason.
Yeah. Blark says that
What are yours?
uh, mine. Oh, super simple. So first, the Pokemon trainer battle from Red and Blue.
Oh,
Yeah, exactly. That one lives rent free in my head all the time.
I think I was doing the theme from Moana, but it was close enough.
Yeah, second, definitely the Forbidden Memories free battle theme. There's a doom 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 doom. That one just lives rent free in my head too. And I guess dude, like this is one that is just because I play the game all the time. The key card theme in Master Duel just lives rent free in my head. The key card theme won. However, if I was to not allow myself to have two Yu-Gi-Oh games consecutively, I would have to say that the battle theme from Final Fantasy X lives rent free in my head all the time. That is just
I, I figured out my third one.
okay. What's your third one?
Rip and Tear from Doom.
Rip and Tear from Doom is a good one.
That is interchangeable with like 90% of the Doom tracks, but Rip and Tear is the one that always like comes to mind first.
Let's have a look at the chat. There's a few that have been dropped there. Firstly, Blarkmoo did mention Kingdom Hearts. He mentioned Sanctuary. He saw the Orchestra 2 in person. I guess that's for like the Kingdom Hearts thing. Let's see. Lord Mordor mentions Force Del Mal, so we got like a whole Kingdom Hearts thing going on in there. And also the Pokemon Sword and Shield gym battle, which was a banger, no kidding. Siggy says the Tetris one. Uh, yeah, actually, that's a kind of a banger too, isn't it?
Everyone knows the fucking Tetris thing.
Super
It's like
Mario Bros. From NES, he says. So I guess that's like the first level on Super Mario. That's just classic. Yeah.
I'm just gonna sing all of Siggy's because Siggy's the one that understood the assignment apparently.
He also says Mortal Kombat, but whenever I don't know, every time I hear Mortal Kombat, I just think of like the bad '90s like movie theme.
I mean, the bad '90s movie theme kind of was the Mortal Kombat theme, but it was just not a good version of it.
You know, I'm gonna scrap one of mine. The Final Fantasy X battle theme, really good, but honestly, Sonic the Hedgehog Green Hill Zone.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense that you didn't say a Sonic game.
Yeah, because Sonic's got bangers left and right, dude. Like it is so weird to have like a Sonic game that has bad music. It almost doesn't happen.
Like with Sonic, uh, that's one of the games that if I'm at work, I'll just put the Sonic Spotify playlist on
Yeah, it's
and
really good.
listen to that in the background.
Hey, it's speaking of like now that we're on that train of thought, um, what do you have you heard like the music from like Sonic Forces?
I have not.
Okay, because like the main bad guy for Sonic Forces is a guy called Infinite, right? And the other day, I'm at the gym, and I have the Sonic Spotify on, and the main theme song for Infinite comes on, and this dude has like the biggest edge lord song in history. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna pull up the lyrics so that I can prove my point. Uh,
Well, while you're pulling those up, we have Escape the City, or City Escape
oh,
is what
City
Lord
Escape
Mordor
is
said.
so good. Yes, no
And then
kidding.
Gamma says Sam's theme from Metal Gear is really good, which I'll add to that and say Snake Eater from Metal Gear is pretty damn good.
Yeah, I don't. Well, Snake Eater, I know. What's it called? What do you call it?
Snake
Yeah, that's the one I know.
Eater.
I don't know the other one. So here's the lyrics for Infinite, just to prove that this is the biggest edge lord song in history. So, I am the tallest of mountains. I am the roughest of waves. I am the toughest of terrors. I am the darkest of days. I am the last one that's standing. Don't try to stand in my way, 'cause I've been up against better. Just take a look at my face. 'Cause if you're messing with me, I am a dangerous weapon. I am the sharpest of blades. I'll cut you down in a second, 'cause I was born in this pain. It only hurts if you let it. So if you think you can take me, then you should go and forget it. I mean, dude, this is like 2003. I only shop at Hot Topic, like edgelord.
It's very yeah.
Yeah.
It's very. It's not a phase, mom.
It's not a phase mod. Oh, but you know what? Like, it's something that kind of like I started thinking about because we were mentioning edge lords, and this just kind of segues really naturally here. I've been watching Solo Leveling, which is like the anime adaptation of like the manhwa. Uh, and it's how to put this? This is a really brutal one to watch, and like the theme song to Infinite almost feels like it fits perfectly because, dude, like the first 3 episodes of this is just basically like I don't want to say torture porn, but yeah, like no one makes it out of the first 3 episodes of this anime without some kind of emotional damage. Not to mention the physical damage. Um, yeah, I know that we have some Solo Leveling fans in the chat. Gamma is a huge one. I think Helix, who is also in the chat, has read Solo Leveling. But basically, it's kind of weird. It's a midway between isekai. Oh, it looks like Siggy is too. He says, "Wait till they finish the tutorial." Yeah, so
Y'all
it's
need some help.
yeah, we all need some help. Look, no, that's not to say that it's bad. I am enjoying it, and it did something that a lot of animes haven't done for me in a long time, which is like it ends an episodes in a really good cliffhanger to where you're like, okay, I need to know what happens next. And this has to be like a symptom of the writing. I feel like probably the manga was kind of the same way, where the chapters would probably, and I should say I haven't read it, where the chapters would end in a place where you're like, okay, I need to know what comes next. Because so basically the rundown of it is, it's midway between isekai and just kind of like fantasy world, where it takes place in real world Japan, quote unquote. Where portals begin to appear all across the land that lead into fantasy dimensions full of monsters. Now, if nobody goes into those portals and takes care of the dungeon boss, the monsters eventually start coming out of the portals into the real world. Luckily, there's been a bunch of humans who have, quote unquote, awakened to special powers that allow them to enter into these portals and fight these dungeons to close the dungeons and protect mankind. And what makes this interesting is that this is the story about the weakest of these quote unquote hunters, a guy who honestly, given his skill, given his power level, should choose a different job to do because this is no good. Like he is that would be like, just throwing me into active combat against Tyranids. Like I would not stand a chance. It is just
You aim for the head.
yeah,
You can fake turn. It's very easy.
yeah. So I'm like, I don't know, man. I can't. Like so,
The ones that don't have a head, you just aim for them.
yeah. Just aim for the head. If they don't have a head, I don't know. Just like the biggest part of their body mass. I don't know. Uh, so yeah, like this, and so basically, the first three episodes that I've watched is this guy it gets injured in every job he takes, but he takes the jobs because they pay well, and he needs to pay for his sister's school, and he needs to pay for like their mom's hospital bills. So he's just in that place where he needs to do this. But so he always takes low level jobs. Like, hey, this is a low level dungeon. He takes the job. He has a high chance of survival. He'll always come out injured, but he has a high rate of survival at least, right? And then they enter into this one. They clear it. It looks like everything's fine. But then they find like a secondary hallway, and they're like, "Hey, I didn't see that hallway there before. Should we go into it?" And it turns out that it's kind of like one of those. Have you ever been like playing a video game and there's like this path that you can take that you're not intended to take, and it ends up putting you in front of the final boss?
Yeah, a
Yes.
lot of times.
So it's that, he's a level 1 player with a level 1 party, and they just found this path that led to a late game boss. And oh my god, like when I say that, like this was one of the most brutal scenes of everybody just learning that they're terribly outclassed. Um, and it was yeah, it was pretty bad. There was like a bit of a riddle that went with this dungeon, because like the bosses are all these statues that are kind of like standing around, and there's like some kind of poem. It feels kind of like biblical in a way. It's like, oh, worship and blah 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 and so on and so forth. And so like they had to kind of like read between the lines into what this poem says to kind of figure out, oh, so like when the statue is walking towards you with the intent of killing you, bow down before it, in worship, and it'll stop. And now it enters a secondary phase where it's like, okay, now we look to the next verse to figure out the clue on how to get out of here. And needless to say, everybody either dies or escapes narrowly, leaving only our main character behind. And our main character suffers just the worst amount of physical punishment from these statues wailing on him. And next thing you know, he wakes up in the hospital, and he is apparently 100% whole, and finds out that the people who ran out the door did manage to escape. But he also finds out that he had like a rare second awakening, where now he has like the isekai type powers, where he's like, oh, I can see screens in front of me that tell me like my stats, and like that give me like different challenges, daily quests, etc. And that's basically where I am right now. And so again, this is a brutal anime to watch, dude. It is ridiculously brutal. But it is also one of those where like it is well written to the point where every episode ends in a place where you absolutely need to know what happens next. There is a good enough level of mystery and a great level of suspense to where you must know what happens next, and it's actually pretty great. To everyone in the chat, have you watched the solo leveling anime? What do you guys think about it? Like, do you think it does justice to the manhwa? Me personally, I haven't read the manhwa, but I think the anime is great. So I'd be interested to hear what you guys have to say. Blarg says
Yeah.
it's dot hack sign. I haven't heard about dot hack sign in forever, dude. That is a classic at this point. Like that was like 1999, wasn't it?
I keep forgetting that you're like ancient.
Yeah, I'm ancient. Like I'm like the song Infinite. I am the ancient of days, and I am the dangerous weapon, and don't try to stand in my way.
I am the storm that is approaching.
Like as the storm that is approaching is one of my favorite memes to come out of Devil May Cry. Like, have you seen the memes where it's like, I don't know, like something that
It's
should,
just like some kind of like perverted thing,
yeah,
and then it's like it starts to go to the part that you think it's going to, and then no, it's just
yeah, and then
I
it's just
am the
Virgil.
storm that is approaching. It's like, okay, well, that's out of nowhere.
Yeah. Let's see. Mordor says that he's adding "Bury the Light" to his iconic songs list. That "Bury the Light" from Devil May Cry 5, I think. Which from Devil May Cry 5, man, Devil Trigger was my favorite track. I was like, okay, this is good though. I like this. Um, let's see. Gamma stopped watching Solo Leveling, got carried away with the Rain King series and the wrong way to use healing magic. I've been watching the wrong way to use healing magic. That one's so much fun. It is so it's an isekai, right? But like, what's it called? Main character it gets isekai'd by accident with the two heroes of the story. But whenever he gets to the other world, they find out that he's adept at healing magic, and everyone who does healing magic looks like they're a criminal. And it's because like the person who trains them to use healing magic in just like the most outlandish and creative ways to where I'm like, okay, that's actually kind of interesting though. Like, like for example, like, hey, I'm running a mile, but when I'm running a mile, like obviously my muscles are under constant stress, right? I start to get tired. My like, there's rips and tears in your tendons whenever you perform exercise. So you use healing magic to heal yourself as you're exercising, thereby doubling the amount of exercise you can do and increasing the amount that you can strengthen yourself per exercise. So all of the healers in this world look like like they're in biker gangs almost, like they're these like angry, scary looking mofos and it's the funniest thing ever. Let's see. Virgil, disregard prawn, acquire power.
I am the storm that is approaching.
Siggy says, "What's the name of the anime?" That's the wrong way to use healing magic. It's really really good. Uh, but yeah, out of curiosity, you guys in the chat, what anime are you watching, or are you watching anything? Me and Dare, watching Band of Brothers, Solo Leveling. What do you guys got going on in your screens?
Watching the Band of Brothers anime.
Watching the Band of Brothers anime. It'd be so. The thing is, anime does sometimes tackle like real world events, but they always do it in like really really weird ways. Like that's what
Yeah, like having like teenage girls driving Panzer tanks.
I was gonna say. Girl Doom Panzer is one. Azure Lane is another one. Every waifu in Azure Lane is a real world battleship, and it's so funny. And like
They did you know that they have a Y Schwartz set for Asher Lane?
I did
And it
not.
is the most fan servicey thing that I've seen from
Oh,
Y
I
Schwartz
bet, dude.
here.
Like Azure Lane has no shame. They know what they're doing.
I
um,
I was like kind of shocked that Y Schwartz was like, yeah, we'll print this. It's like, I
mhm.
can see this game.
Yeah, I was at the comic shop yesterday, and what's it called? I almost picked up the Weiss Schwartz Spy Family set. Uh, the only thing that stopped me from doing so is that they didn't print like a price on it, and I was looking at the Universus Trigun, what's it called, starter deck, where it was like, yeah, this will be $60, or like I think it was 60, I don't remember, but I was like, oh wow, that's a lot. So
Well, I think that's like a older one. Like, so the way that White Schwartz works is they don't like print a bunch of stuff.
mhm,
They'll print one round of it, and then that's it.
mhm.
So if it's like a more sought after IP, the price usually goes up quite
Yeah,
substantially.
yeah, usually
That's
the
why like the
waifu
Hololive
IPs.
that's why like the Hololive stuff is not the most expensive, but it's still kind of expensive.
Right. A couple of animes that have been mentioned in the chat. Blark finished Chainsaw Man, which I hear Chainsaw Man's really good. I haven't gotten into it. I intend to eventually. I just haven't. Helix says Undead Unwanted Adventurer is good. Uh, That one has come across my feed a couple of times. I don't know anything about it, but like people seem to say nice things about it. Gamma likes Mashal, which is funny. Mashal's a great anime. I finished watching it. I was actually reading the manga for a little while before the anime was announced. I was like, oh, I'll just catch the anime, and it's pretty great. It's Harry Potter, except Harry Potter can't use magic. Instead, he punches things because he's really strong. It's One Punch Man. If One Punch Man was Harry Potter, it's funny.
It's fair.
Yeah. Oyasumi Punpun is what Ziggy is watching. Oyasumi Punpun is apparently. It's my understanding that it's a really emotional roller coaster. Um, I haven't gotten it. Has no anime adaptation in the works yet, and some people say that it's going to be a really hard one to translate because of the content of the manga. But I know nothing about it except that it's an emotional gut punch.
Give
That
it to Konami. Their localization team never has failed.
give it to Konami. Hey, that's a good one for 4Kids Entertainment to dub.
I
Yay.
love jelly donuts.
Yeah.
Jelly donuts are my favorite.
But we're talking about Konami, so tell me, Dare, have you heard about like the new events going on Master Duel?
I have not.
Okay, so we actually have two going on in February. One of them is Legend Anthology Acceleration, and the other one is the Synchro Link event. So they'll overlap a little bit towards the end of one, but like for the most part, they'll be happening completely separate. And so the Legend Anthology Acceleration is basically like the legendary duelist event. Hey, play an anime deck. And they're saying, hey, we're this will have a ban list that promotes cards and archetypes used by legendary duelists like harpies, heroes, and TG. I don't know who played TG in the anime, but that.
He it was in the second season of Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds.
Oh, okay. I never got
The,
to the second season of
he
5D, so
he
I didn't know.
was like, spoiler for an anime that's like 15 plus years old now.
Mm-hmm.
A guy comes back from the future claiming to be Yusei.
Mm-hmm.
It's not Yusei. And then another guy comes back from the future to like help stop him
Mm-hmm.
from, because the guy's name is Zone.
Zone,
And in the
like a
future,
certain animator I know.
uh, there was like a catastrophe that destroyed the world, and he like had physical surgery done so he would look like Yusei, and people would be like inspired to fight back against the tyranny or whatever, and then the world still ended.
Please do tell.
Yeah, the second season of Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc 5, or not Arc 5, Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds was like weird. They had a tournament where the people played Zushin the Sleeping Giant, which is just a, a terrible card, but it's amazing. And then they had the three Nordic gods that they had a tag team. It was a tag team dual race thing.
I remember the tag team duel race. I remember MBT made fun of of Akiza because she got stomped in that. I was like, okay, you do remember that like Black Rose Dragon had to be limited back in the day, right?
Well, that was in, I think that wasn't in like the tag team
Oh,
duel
was that
thing
was that towards the end?
for
Because I
like
remember there was a
for
like a
like
like
the
a tournament thing.
championship.
Yeah.
Yeah, for like the tournament thing, it was Akiza. No, it wasn't Akiza. It was Yusei and
Jack and Crow
Jack
probably.
and Crow,
Yeah.
and they were getting destroyed by the Nordics.
Oh yeah,
And
Nordics.
and and you, that's something that like their decks should probably not do
Right. So
because it's Nordics.
this is like what Legend Anthology is, and the Synchro Link event is exactly what it sounds like. So I wanted to like just drop here like the loners in each event, and I think that there is very clear good loners and very clear bad ones in this. So, for the Legend Anthology, the loners include Harpies, Hero, and TG. I wonder which of those is the best one.
Uh, Definitely harpies.
Absolutely 100% Harpies.
Like
Uh,
if you summon Harpy Lady 1 and then put Harpy Lady 2 on the field, Harpy Lady 1 gives all harpies like plus 300.
yep, it's incredible. And then the Synchro Link loners include Infernoble, Dragoonity, and Agents. Again, there is a very clear one that is superior in this case. But yeah,
I mean, in a best of one format, I could see all of those being good because Dragoonity can do a lot of stuff.
yeah.
Infernoble does a lot of stuff. Agents doesn't do a lot of stuff, but they also just kind of say, "Hey, Mystic Shine Ball, pass,"
Agents doesn't do a
and
lot of stuff, but
then
like
next thing you know, they just have a board.
that is the thing though. Like it has three Mystic Shine Balls, and in my head, I'm like, oh my god, there's three Mystic Shine Balls in this deck. I am gonna brick at some point. It is possible. I'm gonna draw all three. I can see it happening. So like I think out of the Legend Anthology, definitely Heroes is probably the best one. And I want to say that out of Synchro Link, I think Infernoble has the highest skill ceiling, but I think Agents also is very, very adept at doing things. So I don't know. Like, which do you think are the strongest amongst the loners, and which ones?
Labyrinth.
Yeah, Labyrinth. And which ones would you guys be playing if you're playing in the events? I know Gamma's playing Infernoble. He already says that. He already said that in the chat. Siggy calls me based. I think it's because he knows he heard me say that I know an animator named Zone.
Yeah, I just completely ignored you saying
No,
that
I know.
because it's
I
like I'm
saw.
not going down that road.
I was here. That's like when we were talking about Verbal Ace last week, and I talked about how he could have like for what was it like 50,000?
Yeah,
He could have hired
50,000. We were like
Derpixon.
he could have hired like multiple people.
Yeah, Derpixon or Zone would have gotten like a better animation. I don't know. That's just me. So yeah, like that's basically what's going on in Master Duel. I think that's I don't know. I like the idea of Legend Anthology. However, in the past, like they've always nerfed my anime decks, dude. Like, cause I have Morensis. Morensis is a legendary duelist deck, but every time that I attempt to play Morensis in like a Legend Anthology, they'll always like hit like Morensis Dive or like either I forget which one. It's one of the main deck ones. One of the like Spring Girl or Blue Tang. So they'll hit one of them so that the deck you have to run things like Four Mud Skipper or like some Atlantean or Mermail thing to kind of like offset the amount of extenders that you had hit. So yeah, I don't know.
Well, the thing with like ever since the first event that Konami did on Master Duel, I just don't have any faith in them
Mhm.
because it's like the first duel is going to be only synchro monsters and you can only play synchro decks and it's going to be cool. And then people just played like a stupid self TK because just like losing the game through decking yourself or not decking yourself, but like burning yourself was quicker points than like actually playing the game. So they would just set up a bot that self TK'd. It's
Yeah,
like okay,
yeah. It's they've taken steps toward making this so that it wasn't a thing anymore.
they
Uh,
did, but at the same
it's
time,
you
they
can't you
don't.
you can't block all of the people trying to cheat the system. You just have to like
You,
block what you can
but
find.
you can actually like force people to use certain decks though.
Yeah.
And if you're like you have to use this loner deck, and it has to have these cards in it, but we'll give you like 16 different decks to choose from.
Right. I think the one that like really made me laugh was whenever they did the XC's event and left Flying Sea untouched. I was like, wow, you guys are
Yeah,
awesome.
that was just a mistake. That was
Siggy
just a
says,
horrible mistake.
yeah, no kidding. I got a question for you two about Yu-Gi-Oh! In your opinion, what is the best looking monster card? For me, it's Elemental Hero Flame Wingman because of the dragon hand. I can read that question in one of two ways. Dare, what do you think is the best looking monster card?
Well, that's it. Does it have to be a monster card, or does
Uh,
it just have to be a card?
he said monster
Because
card, but like, what? I'm curious now. What do you think is the best
the
card, the best looking card?
Sunset Beat came out in Phantom Nightmare, and
Gotta go look
like
at this. Sunset B
Beat
beat. Now, is that beet as in the vegetable or beet as?
BEAT.
All right, cool. Oh, actually, that does look nice. I like
Yeah,
that.
it's one of the few Yu-Gi-Oh cards that doesn't look like a Yu-Gi-Oh card,
It
and it's
really
brand
does
new.
not. Hold on, look. I'm gonna put the art over here on the slideshow. That way, folks can see it.
Like usually, all my like default thing is to either say like Ancient Gear Golem or Paratrio, Performer Pal Paratrio,
Hmm.
but uh, Sunset Beat came out, and I was like, that's really good. I like that.
Yeah, that doesn't look bad at all. I actually kind of love the artwork on that. Um, it's just so relaxing in a game that can be so weirdly frustrating. Ziggy says it's like it's a Windows wallpaper, kinda, but like hey, that doesn't make it look bad. That actually is really relaxing to look at. So that's Sunset Beat. What do you think is the best looking monster card by your
Uh,
definition of best looking?
I don't know. There's a lot of them that I really like. Like I said, Paratrio is like my favorite card, and then I don't maybe like something. It, by it'd probably be something that doesn't look like a Yu-Gi-Oh card is what my answer would be.
Hmm.
So like maybe Prophecy Destroyer or something.
Yeah, Prophecy Destroyer is a good one. We've mentioned in the past that Prophecy Destroyer had artwork done by Magic the Gathering artist,
Yeah,
and he clearly didn't understand the assignment. It's like, hey, we're hiring you to design a Yu-Gi-Oh card, make some Magic card artwork, and they're like, yeah, okay. uh,
Mystic Shine Ball. There we go.
Mystic Shine Ball. Gamma mentions matching shirts. I think he's talking about like the holiday goblin. You know the one that like instead of getting like toys like the rest of the goblins, he gets like the what's it called, like the T-shirt with a Yu-Gi-Oh monster on it. I don't remember what it is.
Speaking of the goblins, have you seen the new goblin cards?
I have. They're pretty great.
Goblin these nuts. Um,
Haha! Watch out for the
I,
mind
I'm
goblin.
I, I was kind of like I was interested in the fact that they made a whole archetype for them, but at the same time, it's like you could have done a different archetype that was like not goblins.
Or make them related to the Goblin Attack Force of yore. Do you remember the Goblin Attack Force?
Well, that's what they're supposed to be, isn't it? They're all like 2100, 2300 to zero defense.
Oh, I didn't notice that. Maybe?
Yeah,
Yeah. Uh,
and they're all like level threes and stuff.
best looking monster card for me. That's a tough question. That is ridiculously tough because there's so many good ones. So,
Morning, King of the Canadian Hill.
morning, King of the Canadian Hill. Hey, tell us, King of the Canadian Hill, are you watching anything this week? Me and Dare were watching Band of Brothers and Solo Leveling. We're interested to hear what you guys are watching. Um, shoot, man, the best looking monster card for me. This is a hard question. I would say, look, I'm just gonna toss some out there because, like, I'm never gonna be able to make up my mind. I think that Access Code Talker looks really, really cool. He's one of my favorites. I think,
Which access code talker? Because they have a new artwork coming out.
well, the only one I know, I suppose. I love, I love Eldritch the Mad Golden Lord. I think he looks really, really terrifying, and I think that's just awesome. Um, let's see what else. I like a lovely Labyrinth of the Silver Castle. I will not elaborate. And I think that Divine Arsenal Double A Sue Sky Thunder looks really, really cool. But yeah, those are my favorite monsters. If we're talking about like just regular cards, which ones I think just look really, really cool. Um, I had one in mind that was a spell, and I thought it looked really awesome. I like Ultimate Slayer. I think Ultimate Slayer looks really good. Um,
I think it was like Titanicide. That was one that I really liked.
Titanicider, yes, yeah, all
The
of
one with
those.
like Appaloosa going after something.
Yeah, Appaloosa is going out. Actually, Appaloosa is on both of those cards. He's on Titanicider and Ultimate Slayer. You know, I'm very proud of us, Dare. We were asked which Yu-Gi-Oh cards we thought were the best, and both of us stayed clear of Trap Tricks and Sky Striker.
Yeah, but one of us didn't stay clear of the waifu deck.
I just think she looks cool.
Uh huh.
King of Canadian Hill says he started watching the Cuphead show on Netflix. He says it's good stuff. Out of curiosity, is that the because Cuphead the video game was animated kind of in a fun 1930s 1940s cartoon sort of way? Is the Cuphead TV show the same? I love it whenever they play with alternate styles like that.
That
Um,
game gave me so much like anger issues.
oh, Dare, now that you're mentioning anger issues, have you heard what's going on over at Overwatch?
There's still a thing.
There's still a thing, apparently. So, apparently, like, they're doing a Cowboy Bebop collab.
Huh.
Yeah, like, and here's the only thing that we have going to go off of that. They recently released like their season 9 trailer, and then about 2.5 minutes in, the music cuts out and it starts playing the theme song to Cowboy Bebop, Tank. And right after it plays like a couple of seconds of Tank, trailer ends. So Cowboy Bebop Overwatch collab confirmed.
Uh huh.
Yeah. Why all the names sound like a Xbox gamer tags like XXX Pro Gamer XXX69? That's true. That's very true. I think that a lot of that is because like I don't think that Xbox ever did like a thing where they required you to like update your gamer tag, right? So like from day one of Xbox, they would just like migrate to the new system, isn't that right?
Maybe I don't know. I was always Sony PS3,
Yeah, same.
PS4.
Like so, I still have my same Sony tag that I made like from my PlayStation 3. Like I never changed it. Blizzard really desperate to get back on people's good graces. Why they think this would help, I have no idea. Well, it's a good thing that Mordor brings that up because actually this isn't the first time that they've done an anime crossover. They had like the One Punch Man crossover not too long ago, where Doomfist, Soldier 76, Kiriko, and Genji all got One Punch Man skins. Doomfist being Saitama was just like the no-brainer. Obviously, this was going to be a thing, right? Um, so I think that this is just kind of a trend that they're going with, and the reason why I think that this is a thing is because it's seen such success in Fortnite. Like,
Yeah, but that's Fortnite.
yeah, and that you're very right. That's Fortnite, and Fortnite has a history of not of being a good game, right? With like a fan base that, although a little off the wall, can is largely positive. Um, so like them having collabs with a bunch of like anime IPs and whatever, anime and popular media IPs, I should say, because Ariana Grande is also in Fortnite. Uh, you know, it is a no-brainer. It brings in more fans. It keeps people happy. it fits with the off the wall sensibilities of Fortnite. Overwatch did it once as a fun little collab, and they're doing it again. And the thing is, they've been on such a downward spiral since the release of Overwatch 2, right? That,
I wonder why.
yeah, that the question is, do you think that this would help bring back players or bring in new players? Me personally, I don't think so, and I'll tell you why. Because Cowboy Bebop recently itself suffered kind of like a huge hit because the live action was just laughably awful. Uh,
Well, it kind of stems from what I just read Lark saying, but
mhm,
like they did what Jagex did back in like 2012,
mhm,
where they put an update into RuneScape that was just like nobody wants this,
mhm.
but they did it anyways and lost this. It was like probably close to 40 or 50% of their fan base.
Yeah.
Like they lost a lot of people work or playing the game.
Mhm.
So like Overwatch has kind of already shot itself in the foot,
Yeah.
and if they bring back Overwatch 1, they may be able to rekindle some of the, like if they did like an Overwatch classic, people would probably be like, "Oh yeah, that's cool. I want to play Overwatch
You
like it used
know,
to be." But
I didn't want to agree with you, but when you said that they bring back Overwatch Classic, part of me was just like, "Ooh, hello."
well,
I'm like,
that's RuneScape would constantly have like hundreds of thousands of people playing, and
uh,
you could always, whenever you would open up the website, it would always have up at the top current player count. And then they removed the free trade back in like 2004 or 5,
mm,
and the player count like dropped by half. And then they removed uh, they did the evolution of combat, which was supposed to make it more like a MMO
mm,
in the terms of like combat. And people were just like, "No, this is terrible. We don't want it." And another like 50% of the people left. But then they were like, "We're going to bring back RuneScape Classic servers,"
mm.
and all of a sudden, it's one of I think it's one of the few like classic MMOs that is currently like increasing in size.
Yeah, like it's thriving, which is weird because
Yeah,
for how long it's been out, right? Um,
yeah, because these are servers, which I mean they've done a bunch of updates and changes to it, so
mm,
it's not like the RuneScape that I started playing, but it's they 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 still like they do updates and stuff, and for a game that's stuck graphically and mechanically in 2006, it's really good, and a
yeah.
lot of people like it.
Helix responded to a question that he posted back a little while ago. So he says, "Has anyone watched Chinese animes?" And I asked, like like Japanese anime that are based on Chinese legends and stuff. Like, so for example, I mentioned I've seen Raven of the Inner Palace, 12 Kingdoms, and Fushigi Yugi, and he says Daily Life of the Immortal King. I My wife has seen it and she's told me to watch it, and I haven't yet. But no, is there others like that? I feel like there's a few, and they always fly under my radar because it's just not something that I'm looking for actively. But I'd be interested to hear which other ones there are. Um, so yeah, I guess a couple of questions I have here, Dare, is like, so we don't think that this is going to help Overwatch recover from like the way that they've
No,
destroyed themselves, right?
they've thoroughly like killed their fan base. Like if they were to bring out a classic version of Overwatch,
Mhm. Oh, I would play that in a heartbeat,
then
like
yeah,
no
well, I
question.
would too. Like being able to play like uh, an original version of Mercy or
And
Lucio
you know,
would be amazing.
and that's kind of the weird thing because whenever Overwatch 2 was released, the Overwatch 1 experience just died. It just disappeared, right? It wasn't like a separate entity. It was just like everything just got transported into Overwatch 2. So, like, if you didn't like Overwatch 2, there was no going back to Overwatch 1, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's like with Team Fortress 2 is there are people that still play the original Team Fortress because you can.
Yeah.
You didn't have to switch over to TF2 when TF2 came out.
Right.
Is if you don't like it, you can still play TF1. But uh, I don't know. It was a decision that Blizzard made that just didn't seem right.
Yeah.
And since they because it was like really hyped up too. That was one of the things that was like this is going to be the next greatest thing ever done,
Hmm.
and then Blizzard just kind of shit the bed with it,
Yeah, they said they've been
made it
shit in the bed
horrible.
quite a bit. Um, with that said, obviously, if it's a collab, there's gonna be skins. I think McCree Spike Spiegel is a no-brainer. I want to say that Faye Valentine as Ash would kind of fit, but I'm not entirely too sure about that. Um, yeah, or I guess Faye as Tracer could also work. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. It feels weird. Uh, we also have Jet and Ed, and I don't see Ed as anyone except maybe Junkrat. Junkrat
I don't
Ed,
see Ed as anyone other than a friend.
other than a friend. But Jet, I don't even have anyone in mind. Baptiste, maybe.
I have not watched Cowboy Bebop, so
Mm,
your guess is as good as mine.
yeah. Blark asks, "Is Overwatch any good?" Oh, it was good, man. It was really good. It was one of those games that I spent. I think between Overwatch and Master Duel, those have been the games that consumed the most of my time ever. Uh, and I really, really loved Overwatch. Whenever it became Overwatch 2, I felt like Helix says in the chat, it felt like a downgrade rather than an upgrade. And there's a number of reasons why that was. So it could have been really, really good. Um, remember when we went and watched live? Ask Helix. Yeah, we went to watch a couple of Overwatch League games live because it was really good back in the day, dude. It was really good. And now the Overwatch League doesn't even exist anymore. Is how far like they've been spiraling downwards. But yeah, that's all we got regarding that. It sucks, dude. I don't know. Like, Dare, have you ever had like a game where you felt like it was really really good until something changed and then you just could not bear to play it anymore?
Yeah, there's like this small indie game that I used to like to play all the time, where it's like a 6v6
Mm-hmm.
match,
Mm-hmm.
and you could pick from like a tank, a healer, a DPS, or a support class, and
Mm-hmm.
then you'd have like objectives like you got to push this payload down the track, or
No, I
you have
see.
to capture these. It's Overwatch.
It's Overwatch, yeah. So
Overwatch.
Overwatch, I think, is like the freshest example in my mind. Whereas, like, as soon as that it became Overwatch 2, I just could not bear to play it. Um,
There, there's a couple other games. I wasn't too happy with RuneScape whenever they changed to the evolution of combat, but I
mm,
didn't quit playing RuneScape.
mm.
Um, and then every time Dota updates, it's a pain in the
Yeah, I
ass. But
I can see that.
it's is literally that's like I think it's I think one of the things that I miss the most is when I was in college, talking to like my fraternity brothers that would play League,
Mm,
and they would always complain about, well, I can't believe they patched this or patched that because now this is just super broken and the game's completely different. And it's like, here is the patch notes for the new Dota update.
mm.
Have fun spending the next 2 hours reading everything.
Yeah, yeah.
And,
Like
and they've
Dota
just been
patches are just
miserable.
like serious business.
Yeah, they because they changed literally every hero,
Mm,
as well as they make changes to all of the items, as well as they make changes to the map and the gameplay.
mm.
And that's I do like the way that they set up the patch notes because it's always general information first.
Mm.
So it's we've changed this gameplay mechanic to work this way now, etc., etc., etc. And then it's after that, it's always like the items. So it's like the two main things that everyone needs to look at, and then after that, it's all the hero updates, and you're just like, okay, well, I'll scroll down to the hero because they're all in alphabetical, so I'll just pick the one that I like to play and see what's different about it. But
Right.
you
Uh,
have to read all of them to see which one you're going to see in your games for the next 4 to 5 months.
there are a few that were dropped into the chat that are, Siggy, Helix have mentioned a few games that they could not bear to play after a change happened. Uh, Siggy mentioned Splitgate and Paladins. He says that they took away Team Deathmatch and Paladins, which back in the day, like between Team Fortress 2 and Paladins, those were the guys that were like, yeah, Overwatch who, right? Um,
Well, I've watched Siggy play Paladins,
mhm.
and it seems like a really fun game. I'm upset that I can't play it and then have the Amelia Watson announcer pack.
Mhm.
But yeah, Paladins was it when you have like a big three type deal,
Mhm.
you really have to like keep up with stuff, and Paladins just didn't.
Yeah. It looks like Siggy got the Amelia Watson announcer pack.
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm like, I've watched him play, and I'm just like Siggy, because I believe I was like, hey Siggy, are you still able to get that? He's like, no, it's a limited time thing. I'm like,
Oh
well,
no.
not gonna fucking, not gonna fucking download the game if I can't have Ame yelling at me.
Right. Helix says that Destiny into Destiny 2 was his experience. And I'm not familiar with Destiny, but I know that it had a huge player base. And so I don't know what exactly that's about. But, if you could elaborate on
I
that.
I had a fraternity brother that played Destiny,
Hmm.
and it was so good to him
Mm-hmm.
that when it came out, he bought it when it came out,
Hmm.
and then we didn't see him for over a month.
Holy cow. So he really
It
went deep in there.
it wasn't like, oh well, he's just busy. It was he's doing nothing but playing this game,
Mm.
and it was like an actual problem because it was like he we it got the after Destiny came out, like the next time I saw him was because he texted me and he was like, "Hey, can you go to the store and get me some food and bring me groceries?" I was like, "Sure, is something wrong?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm sick." And then I go there and he's sitting playing Destiny. I was like, "You're not sick. It's just you're a lazy piece of shit that don't
Well, no, you don't
want to
understand.
leave."
The muscles in his leg must have atrophied from having been sitting down for so long playing Destiny.
The dude didn't have muscles in his body to begin with
Oh,
because he
so
was
it was
just
even
like skin
worse.
and bone. He was just skin and bone. There was nothing to atrophy.
Let's see. Mordor responds to one of your takes here. He says that big patches like Riot League being so crazy is kind of a good thing for the game. Things changing so often keeps the game new, so they keep engagement up.
I didn't say it's a bad thing. I said it's a pain in the ass. Like, because see, I play the niche heroes that no one ever plays except after a while people start playing them because the niche heroes are the ones that don't get nerfed and they just get like buffed 16 times consecutively until they're actually kind of broken and then everyone's like, we're gonna abuse the shit out of this.
Yeah.
But like riot patches are usually we've changed 3 or 4 things to 5 or 6 dudes, and here is um, here's the new skins that we added and some gameplay updates. Dota is like we made a change to every item in the game we've changed 17 of the 48,000 mechanics, and then we've readjusted the other 30 or 47,900 whatever mechanics to align with those 17 changes. And we're also changing every hero at least with three things.
So it's big, big. Uh,
It literally every Dota patch is a new game, and you have to somewhat relearn the game because it's last patch Undying was really good,
mm,
and now they changed things about him, and it's like, okay, he's no longer as good anymore.
mm,
Like they made my boy really good because it's just like, hey, here's a shard that makes your tombstone that you can put down on the ground able to grab an opponent or grab an ally and pull them into the tombstone where they can no longer be hit or stunned or anything,
mm,
and they're safe as long as the tombstone's there. And you could just, if your carry's getting hurt or killed or something, you just throw the tombstone down, grab your carry, pull them into it, and then they're safe.
mm.
And
Uh,
then now you can't grab your allies to pull them in. They have to click on it themselves, or you have to cast it on them. And if the tombstone is destroyed while they're in it, they get stunned for, I think, 3 or 4 seconds.
mm. We got a couple of
That's
other games being mentioned, such as Neo. After the patches, Gamma lost his interest. GTA 5, Siggy says. And Helix just has like so much to say about Destiny. I think he lived like the changes that you say that your friend went through. That it was really really good to him. So he says he had work at school, but 2 weeks after it came out, he played raids all of the missions every week. And he stopped after the Taken King, but he was heavy into Destiny. And after 2 came out, it felt so unplayable because so much of it that was good was changed.
well, yeah, that was a problem.
Mm,
I believe it was. I don't remember if it was Destiny 2 or if it was a different game.
mm,
I think it was a different game because I think they ended up having to shut the servers down for it because they released it and then they just did a bunch of really shitty updates, microtransactions, etc., etc., and people were just like, "No, we're not doing this," and
um,
they left.
Mordor has a question for you. He says he's unfamiliar with Dota, but is that what every patch is like? He says Riot does small balance patches over the year, but does two big ones every year before the new ranked season. So is Dota something like that? Because it sounds to him like what you're saying is what would be considered the big balance patch that Riot does, as opposed to
So,
the little ones.
so what Ice Frog and Valve do is every couple of months they will release a big patch, and the big patch it's usually it's like 7.35B or 7.35C, and those are the balancing patches where they will go through and they'll say this is what's currently going on in the pro scene. We'll make adjustments towards these heroes to make them more balanced with the rest of the thing because they track all the statistics of the pro games, and um, they align the heroes to be balanced in that retrospect. But they do a not great job of balancing, so I don't see why they do it in the first place. But after it's like every what Riot calls a big patch would be our balancing patches, and then every now and then it's usually like maybe once or twice a year we have what I would say is a massive, colossal shitstorm of a patch, which we have a new one coming out soon where they're going to be adding a new hero in. But those are usually just the game is thrown out the window and you're playing a new game. The last one that they did was, I think, 7.35, and they completely changed the map to be a whole new layout. There's like portals on both sides of the map that you can like teleport instantly to the other side of the map. Well, not it's channel teleport, but you can teleport to the other side of the map for like ganking purposes. There's 2 Roshan pits. There's a bunch of like observer outposts that are just free wards. There's these pools that spawn uh, flowers that you can like collect, and then you can eat the flowers to heal health and mana. There's they changed so much, and it's a lot to like have to take in, but you just throw yourself into the game and you're like, okay, we'll try it. And on top of all these changes, they also change all the heroes and all the items and all the mechanics. But like a normal patch is extremely large still. If you watch whenever like a 7.35B patch is released, uh, like all the Dota 2 YouTube content creators have like a video that is either 2 hours long or 2 1 hour long videos where they're just sitting discussing the patch.
And I think it really behooves games that are this big, that are so difficult to get into because of the history that they have, such as League of Legends, such as Dota, such as Yu-Gi-Oh, even, to keep things as fresh as possible, as often as possible, so that their current player base doesn't get alienated. You know what I'm saying? Uh,
Yeah.
or doesn't get bored of what's going on. So I think big patches for games like this, yeah, they're a pain in the ass, but like they're constantly forcing players to engage with the game. So that way, it's not like you just get to a certain level where you're so good that nothing's a challenge anymore.
Well, like that's the thing that about seven, not 7.3. I'm looking at the patch notes of Dota. That's the thing about League that I really like that Dota doesn't have is there's a very low skill gate that you have to cross to be able to actually enter the game. Like the gateway to entering League is just so so far down there that new players
uh,
can play.
I
But
mean, I've been a new player at League several times, dude, and I'm like, just like, okay, does this just mean that I'm dumb that I can't pick this up?
well, that's the thing. Is like it's not like so low that you load up the game and it's like, oh, I'm playing Tetris. It's like there's still like you have to put time in to learn how to play it,
Right.
but the new player experience for League is a lot more forgiving than Dota
Mm.
because Dota is just like
That
yeah,
Mordor, the
let's see,
League
that's
player in the chat, has qualms with what you've said. He says, skill barrier to entry, low, quote unquote. Commuter barrier to play. Oh God.
I have a feeling that Mordor has not spent much time in Dota
I was gonna say
because
Dota must be a
that's
different beast if you consider the entry barrier to League low.
if I don't get called multiple different slurs during a match, I get confused as if I'm actually playing Dota or not. Like the toxicity in Dota is far past League. The skill that it takes to play, it's arguable which one has like a higher skill base, but like Dota has a lot more needlessly complicated mechanics that should not be in the game at all.
Eh,
Like there's height differences in the terrain, and if you are on high ground and you're attacking somebody who is on higher ground, then you have a percentage chance to actually miss your attack.
huh. So,
And there's mountains all over the damn map, so it's stupid. It's I
if I'm not getting spam pinged for not ganking the pre-minutes, I have to question if I accidentally joined the bot game. Helix says that that sounds awful, and to your point regarding the slurs, I have to thank Konami for not adding a chat function to Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel.
well, that's the thing too. Is like online games where you're playing against people. It's nice to be able to communicate with them, but at the same time, people are fucking terrible.
Agreed.
Having someone just freely think it's okay to say something racist or sexist or anything of the sort, and well, I'm behind a computer screen, so they don't know who I am. It's like it's not a reason to be a shitty person.
Agreed. Yeah,
I I
you're very
I,
right.
I, I sent you two of the bigger patches that have happened, just so if you wanted to scroll through it sometime and see how many changes there are, because there, yeah, there's a lot.
So I guess we'll end on something kind of fun here, just because you know, like the talk about online competitive like multiplayer games, it can get kind of weird with the aggression. But just two super quick things. Knuckles is getting his own series on Paramount Plus. You know, Knuckles the Echidna. So a 6 episode miniseries. It looks like they're gonna have what do you call it? People from the Sonic movies making cameos, and Idris Elba is reprising his role as Knuckles, which is kind of cool. I saw the trailer. There's a couple of Easter eggs in it, which I thought were kind of nice. So yeah, it's pretty dope. And secondly, Funimation and Crunchyroll have been in the process of merging for 2 years, and it's finally happening. So the Funimation online anime streaming app will be closing down, and all of the people presently on Funimation will be migrated over to Crunchyroll, and will have their library, or need to have their libraries migrated to Crunchyroll. Because if they don't, then you know that all that information is just going to be gone. Uh,
That those type of things are the ones that like give me like so much stress
what?
because whenever Fallout 76 migrated over to Steam, they were like, "You have to do this, or else you'll lose your account forever, and you'll have to rebuy it." And I was just like, "I don't want to do that. Please don't." And it's just like having to remember to do the thing, and then before the like deadline is just put so much unneeded stress on me.
Yeah. It. Luckily, we have until April to do it, so
Yeah,
you know, like there's time. You know, like 2 months. You can do something in 2 months that takes 5 minutes. You know, like it's not that stressful. But Mordor does bring up one last thing regarding online competitive games, that any game where your victory is dependent on teammates inevitably gets really, really toxic. And
yeah,
yeah.
and another factor of that, it's not just like the victory; it's like the game's difficulty as well. Because if someone's having a bad day and they decide to, instead of just relax, they're gonna queue up a game that takes brain power and skill, and they
Mm.
play terribly, you're going to like get mad at them, and then that's going to be put onto them, and they're going to get mad, and then everyone's just yelling at each other. Online multiplayer games are just like terrible to begin with.
Yeah, the anonymity aspect does make it so that people can say a lot of things and just kind of get away with them. It's pretty awful. But yeah, until next time, that's been our show for today, guys. Thank you for joining us in the chat. Remember to click like, summon, share to help the podcast grow. And other than that, we will be seeing you next week for another Hangout sesh. You guys should come in and chat with us. We miss you. We miss all of you dearly. But yeah, so until next time, I have been the Midnight Bard.
Yeah.
Yeah, adios.
Bye.